Welcome to this episode of Now That's Good Chemistry, a podcast devoted to exploring chemicals in our lives. I'm your host, Susan Savage. We are broadcasting from our studio on the campus of Indian Hill High School, located in Cincinnati, Ohio. This episode is dedicated in loving memory to our colleague and dear friend, Jeff Clark, theater director and music teacher. Jeff was a teacher's teacher. His expertise and experience in his field was second only to his dedication and support for his students. He was a champion for students as individuals. He insisted on making room for anyone and all who were willing to devote themselves to a production regardless of their experience or mastery. Jeff found a place at the table for everyone. He embodied the fundamental mission of an educator: to provide opportunities to engage in something new, to ensure a supportive environment in which to try and possibly fall in love with an endeavor, one that could authentically teach individuals about themselves, about how far they could stretch, about how much more they could accomplish than they ever imagined. Jeff built community, and we are grateful. We celebrate his work and spirit. Last year, the Disney company chose just one high school in each state to be the first to stage Frozen, the musical. Based on the strength of the application Jeff submitted and the high caliber of the theater program he spearheaded, Indian Hill was awarded this great honor and opportunity. Joining me today are Indian Hill students McKenna Peterson, Kaylee Withers, Shannon Aiken, Hayden Longbottom, Nate Wright, Selah Chandler from the cast of Frozen. We're going to discuss the story, rehearsals, and performance preparation as it relates to chemistry. Welcome, cast members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The story of Frozen takes place in a fictional country called Arendelle. Princess Elsa, played by McKenna, has a magical power that enables her to freeze things. Freezing is the removal of kinetic energy of motion, from an object or a substance. The loss of kinetic energy allows the intermolecular attractive forces of the substance molecules to stick together. Elsa makes a snowman, Olaf, played by Shannon, a playmate for her sister, Princess Anna, played by Kaylee. There is a scene where Olaf sings a song about loving summer. Olaf doesn't realize that summer temperatures have lots of kinetic energy and will cause his intermolecular attractive forces to fail in holding him together. He will melt. Hans, played by Nate, understands the chemistry. He locks Olaf into a room with a roaring fire. Olaf begins to melt. Kristoff and his sidekick Sven, the reindeer, harvests and sells ice for a living, so Elsa's chilling powers could put him out of business. Welcome, cast members. Tell me, are you nervous before a performance?
Personally, I get extremely nervous before I go out and perform. Once I'm on stage, normally my nerves have kind of settled down a little bit, but before I go on stage, my hands get really, really sweaty, and I get really shortness of breath, and my heartbeat gets really, really fast.
So we would call that the fight or flight response. Your body's releasing adrenaline, and what you need to do is embrace the adrenaline. Take a deep breath so that you're getting oxygen where it needs to be, and you'll be ready to fight. Something called stage fright. If you are experiencing those nerves, your body physically will freeze. Another thing to do would be to grasp your hands to relax yourself. How do you handle the nerves?
I would say the biggest way that I handle nerves is, of course, I get nervous before going on stage as well. But something that I have always felt personally is that I always perform better under stress, and I kind of just channel that like really deep feeling of anxiety in myself to be able to perform better in front of people. So, yeah.
Yeah, something I like to do is we shake it off in our theater class. So usually like before a show we will shake it off, like shake off our like arms and our feet to just get ready for the show to come. And yeah, we just take deep breaths, we center ourselves around each other in the community, so it's very nice.
That leads nicely into my next question. What do you do to warm up for a scene?
Yeah, so it's definitely important to stay moving before you go on stage, especially because there's a lot of dancing in the show. So I like to do a lot of stretching, especially because of my dance background. It's something that I'm really like comfortable with. So I do a lot of stretching and a lot of like jumping almost, if that makes sense, because it helps me get rid of the nerves, because for some reason when I'm moving, I'm not nervous. So it just helps to like get rid of the nerves and get me ready to go on stage.
So I always ask my runners to stay dynamic, to keep their body in motion before a race. So what you're saying, before you prepare for a scene, you are getting your body moving. Mm-hmm. Shannon, you shared that when you're nervous, you're able to hit notes that you normally can't hit. Can you share with us what you think's going on there?
Yeah, like you said, like during for example, the Frozen audition, I hit a note that I had no idea I was even able to hit during that audition. I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. And I didn't know why that was happening. And you explained it to me. What was it again? Sorry.
It's the release of adrenaline.
Yeah.
That you actually get superpowers. You're able to do things you normally couldn't do without the adrenaline. Kaylee, there's a scene where Anna is frozen. How will you convince the audience you have very little kinetic energy?
Yeah, so there's an awesome scene where I'm trying to save my sister Elsa from being killed by Hans. And during this scene, we have a lot of special effects going on by the crew, but we also are walking in slow motion, and everyone has these amazing white cloaks that are gonna wrap around me to form this huge iceberg. And we also have stage crew that is going to put a projection onto all of our cloaks to make it seem like it's just one big frozen iceberg.
I often talk to my runners about the runner's high after a run. Do you get a performance high?
For me, I think that before you go out, it's very like you're very on edge and nervous, and once you see all the people, it's like you kind of just calm down and focus on what you need to do, and then once you actually do it, so if you finish that song or finish that scene and you hear like the applause, it's like this sense of relief that just goes through like your whole body, and you just feel like you just like you're like on top of the world, you know, like you've like accomplished something that you've been trying to accomplish for months, and it's a very good feeling.
So physiologically, you have a release of endorphins and serotonin in your brain. So it really is a high. It is something that you can actually become addicted to, that you can overperform or overrun because you're grasping to get that runner's high, that performer's high. Everyone will be dressed in winter clothing. What efforts will be done to keep the cast from perspiring?
Okay, so I have a big winter coat and a big pants and really high boots, and I have a whole puppet that I'm controlling this whole time. So it's just a lot of things on me and around me, and sometimes, and it gets very, very sweaty. And one thing that I do, especially when it's colder outside, I just step outside for a second to let myself cool down in the really, really nice cold air. And it also just helps me calm down as well as cool off. So that's very nice. And then also, like before every performance, we have like deodorant everywhere so that people can use, because it is very important in theater. It's almost sometimes worse than like a locker room, I'd say.
Because people are perspiring, and perspiration is the body's way of releasing excess kinetic energy by the water evaporating off your skin. So it is a way to keep your body cool. So it's really essential that you perspire. And with that, how does the cast stay hydrated during a performance?
Well, luckily we have a water fountain backstage. Without it, I don't know how we would stay hydrated. Usually what I do is I bring my big, I have a thermo flask, so it's like probably 64 ounces. I filled it up a couple times. But basically every time we just tell each other, like, just stay hydrated, keep drinking. Like, if your throat's hurting, like, just drink water, water, water.
All right, gang, can you share a bit of the show with us?
Yeah.
All righty.
'Cause here we stand in the light of day. Let the sun shine on. I take this warmth within and send it up above. Goodbye to dark and fear. Let's fill this world with light and love. And here, surrounded by a family at last, we're never going back. And past is in the past. Past is in the past. Let it go, and we'll rise like the break of dawn. Let it go, the fear and cold are gone. Here we stand in the light of day. Let our true love grow. Let it go.
Now, that's good chemistry. Frozen will run at our newly dedicated Susan Harder Memorial Performing Arts Center at Indian Hill. Show dates and time are Saturday, December 9th at 7, Sunday, December 10th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., Thursday, December 14th at 7, Friday, December 15th at 7, Saturday, December 16th at 7. Tickets are just $15. Thank you to the members of the cast for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
There's always a journey, and I think that's the most important thing about theater. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about the friends we make along the way. And I think we make so many friends through our community of performers, and it's not just the cast, it's the crew, it's the orchestra. We all come together as one, and that's a community, and that's what we're all about.